If you're a solo mum in the UK thinking, I feel stuck, I want something else, but I just don't know where to start, this video is for you. The hardest part isn't the money, it isn't the logistics, it isn't even the school stuff. It's analysis paralysis. It's the scrolling, it's the overthinking, it's the over-planning, and it's waiting for the right moment when everything is just perfect and you know exactly what you're going to do. Because that moment never really comes. Hi, I'm Cath. I'm a solo mum traveling the world with my 8-year-old son Jai. At the moment I'm in India, but I have been through Australia, Southeast Asia and Europe. I'm currently world schooling my son, and we are meeting other women doing exactly the same thing, solo parenting, traveling the world, living their life, earning money online remotely, and living a life of freedom. If that's something that you desire, don't forget to subscribe and like and follow me. So why do you feel stuck? I'll tell you what, you're not stuck because you're not capable of doing it. Anybody can do this. This is not actually as hard as people think. It's not as hard as people make it out to be. You're stuck because your brain wants certainty. Your brain wants to know exactly how this is going to look, because what if it goes wrong? And that comes from a place of fear. A fear of the unknown, a fear of uncertainty, a fear of what would happen if it goes wrong. But honestly, that certainty just doesn't exist. There's never going to be the perfect time to do this. There's never going to be a time when everything just falls into place, where you have all the money that you think you might need, where your child is ready, where you are ready to leave your friends and family, when you're ready to step on that plane and into the unknown. That time will never come. If it's something that you want though, you have to make that time happen. And I really believe that when you're responsible for a child, the stakes are higher, aren't they? You know, when you're responsible for your child's or children's education, their emotional well-being, their social network, and all of the other things that comes along with it, their safety, the stakes are higher. And if you haven't done this kind of lifestyle before, if you haven't traveled before, then it does feel terrifying. The stakes, I think, are even higher when you're doing it on your own and you don't have that support to fall back on in the form of a partner. So your brain will keep telling you, don't do this until you're 100% sure, until you've got all the guarantees in the world that everything will be okay. But that time won't come. There are no guarantees in life. And I think that the clarity that you need doesn't come from overthinking and overanalyzing and scrolling through all of the social media posts on Instagram where world schooling families are doing this. It doesn't come from that. It comes from taking some action towards making that a reality. Because you won't feel confident till you started. Confidence doesn't come from doing it for the first time. That takes courage, that takes guts. Confidence comes from doing it and doing it and doing it again and doing it again. I wasn't confident traveling before I just started doing it. It took courage, it took bravery for me to do it, especially doing it on my own, especially doing it with my child. But now I've done it, I know that it's possible, and now I'm more confident. So you won't feel confident until you start. So you just got to start. The next reason you probably feel stuck is because you're trying to plan and solve everything at once. You know, I think most people try to plan the entire escape in their heads. And there are so many things to think about, aren't there? I mean, you've got to think about things at home in the UK, and you've got to think about things wherever you're going to be going. You know, where will I go is obviously the first big question. Like, where in the world can I go? Where is there all of the things that I'm looking for, whether it's beaches or the history or the culture or the low-cost lifestyle, other world schooling hubs. Like, what is it that you're looking for? Doing that research in itself can be really overwhelming because there are so many options that then you're thinking about money. I mean, money is always a really, really big aspect of this, isn't it? Unless you have your own business or unless you already earn money remotely online, the money aspect is a huge, huge barrier for so many people. Plus, obviously, you may have debts, or you may have a mortgage, or you may have other commitments, financial commitments at home, which are feeling like a big barrier at the moment. Let me tell you, anything is possible. If you want to make this happen, you can make this happen. If it's about money, you can make that happen. If you have debt and financial responsibilities at home, start by looking at how you can reduce those or get rid of those. That's the first thing you need to do. And then you need to start thinking about how you can earn enough money to have a savings pot, because a savings pot is really important, especially if you're a bit, worried about money and it's like a safety net. And then you need to think about how you're going to earn money while you're away. So there's 3 things to really think about here. Reducing your debt, having some savings, and then earning more money. Earning more money. And then what about school? This is a big one, isn't it? School. So if you already homeschool your child, you are already 5 steps ahead. You have a head start on everybody. So that's great, because that's basically what you will be doing. You'll just be taking that to another country. And there are way more opportunities for homeschool, home education, learning in the real world when you're out in the bigger wide world. If your child is currently at school, in a school, then it's a bigger step, it's a bigger leap. Home education and world schooling are kind of very, very similar. World schooling is basically home educating, but on the road. So there's no difference really. There are world school hubs, and there's plenty of world school hubs around. And I think I might do a whole video on that actually at some point, because that's something that people really do worry about. Like, what are we doing with my child's education? Don't overthink it. It depends on their age, obviously. It depends how old they are and what they need and what they want and what you want for them. But don't overthink it. I have met families with kids aging from literally babies to teenagers, older teenagers, 15, 16, 17-year-old kids, world schooling, traveling with their families. And there are so many communities for young children, for primary school age children, for teenagers across the world. Some places are more set up for it than other places. Places like Bali, Thailand. I don't know much about Central and South America, but to my knowledge, places like Costa Rica, Dominican Republic have got a lot of world schooling hubs. Of course, there's plenty across Europe. There's some in Africa. There are everywhere in the world. There are world schooling hubs. I'm in Goa at the moment, and there are so many families here and so many single mums here with their kids. They attend school and then they do other groups as well. And we meet up on the beach. There's a huge community here. So you will find your community, you will find your tribe, and that's part of the beauty of travelling and world schooling, is that you meet like-minded people. You meet other mums and parents doing the same thing. We all support each other, we all help each other out, childcare, and they have play dates, and, you just meet up all the time. And it's a stronger community, I think, now, travelling, than I had when my little boy was in school. He was only at school for about a year or 2. And I've got a stronger community now than I did then. So don't worry about that. You will find your tribe. What if it fails? What if everything goes wrong? What if I can't make the money? What if my child hates it? What if I hate it? What if we get sick? What if? Yeah, things can go wrong. Things do go wrong. Look at me. I left the UK with my husband and my son. I am now on my own in India with my son. Things do go wrong. Things can go wrong. My passport expired. My credit card got fraudulent account activity online, so that got cancelled. Yeah, things happen, things do go wrong, but you will be okay. You're probably more resilient than you ever give yourself credit for. Your child is probably more resilient than you ever give them credit for. And like I said before, courage is what you need for the first step, but once you're out doing it, you have more confidence. I am much more confident now traveling with my little boy than I was when I first left the UK with him, and that was with my ex. Now I'm on my own and I still feel more confident because I'm doing it, I'm living it. If things go wrong, have a backup plan. So I have a little savings pot, so I know that if things go wrong, I do have money to get home and for emergencies. I backed up all the things like my passports and my visas and my child's birth certificate and travel insurance and things like that. I know where everything is, so if there's an emergency I can quickly access what I need. My mum also has access to things, so if there's someone at home that you can, you know, say, look, if anything happens, this is where everything is, that could be quite helpful too. If you get sick, I have travel insurance. I use a company called Safety Wing, and they're absolutely incredible. And if you want the link to have a look at those, there's a link in the description for Safety Wing travel insurance. I haven't had to use travel insurance yet, even though I broke my wrist in Thailand. It was so cheap and so quick and easy to get it sorted that I didn't actually need to use my travel insurance. I didn't need to access that. So there is healthcare everywhere as well, and good quality healthcare, low cost healthcare. And you know what? If you do have to go home, that's okay. It's never a bad thing to have to go home. It's okay if that's what happens. Make sure you do have a safety net at home, places you can go, somewhere you can stay, somebody you can, you know, people who can support you when you first go home. Whether you go home for good or whether you go home for a few weeks, you know, just have the safety nets in place so that you feel supported, you feel financially supported, emotionally supported, and practically supported by things. And then, you know, if it does go wrong, whether it's because you're not enjoying it or because something actually happens, you know you'll be okay. So how can you actually make it happen and get unstuck? Well, you need to take your first step, I think. So don't plan everything at once, but just show yourself that you have some options and that you can do this. So you can start by earning your first £100 online. If you don't have a business and you are starting from scratch, earn your first £100 online. I have a free guide to earning your first £100 online, and it gives you some steps and some ideas about how you can do that. Go to the description if you want to grab that. It's free and it's a really helpful resource. You can track your spending for 30 days. See where you're actually spending, where your money is going, and where you can make cutbacks. Because if you're spending loads of money on M&S dinners and Netflix subscriptions, like, get rid of them. Cut those out straight away. You don't need them, and they're taking money out of your pot, your savings pot, that can help you when you want to leave. And you can trial living on, say, 70% of your income, just to see if you can make those cuts, and if you can live on a slightly tighter budget, and you can live without those little extras, the little luxuries, maybe that, you know, extra bottle of wine, or maybe that, you know, extra treat. Just if you can reduce those things, that can make a huge difference to your confidence and to your budget. Try out taking a solo trip or a trip with your child, just to test your independence and to test if it would work for you. So you could either go somewhere just for a week or so, take your kids and just have fun, or you can go somewhere for a bit longer and really trial the experience of traveling. Maybe take a month out and maybe hire a camper van and travel around, or go through Europe, you know, take a train down to Italy or something. Just do something really exciting, really fun, something you'd really love to do. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone just a little bit, just to test yourself, test your kids too. Have a think about where you want to go as well. So start researching your potential destinations, but don't research everywhere. Pick 1 or 2 countries that you think could be an option, and then really do some research. How much would it cost to live there? Realistically, how much would it cost to live there? Not according to some influencer on Instagram who's saying it's going to cost them £10 a month to live, because it doesn't. It costs more than that, especially when you've got kids. So do your research around that. Think about the food. What kind of food would your kids be able to eat? Where in that country could you stay? What kind of other communities are there? If they're world-schooling hubs, or there are other families that stay there. Safety aspects, you know, what's the healthcare system like? What about food and food poisoning? Like, what are the safety aspects around there? Could you live there? What's the climate like? Is it going to be monsoon season when you want to be leaving? Or is it going to be too hot? Or is it going to be too cold? Think about everything. Do some research into just 1 or 2 countries. And then, rather than looking at the whole world, because that's really overwhelming. All of these things are kind of tiny steps in the right direction. They're steps that are going to get you moving. You know, they're not going to solve all your problems overnight and all your questions overnight, but they are going to get you moving in the right direction. And I really believe that it's the momentum that breaks that analysis paralysis. It's the momentum that gives you confidence that you can do this. It's that is going to make you actually go, that's it, I'm booking a flight, I'm off, rather than thinking about it for the next 5 years. You know, honestly, you are not stuck in the UK because you can't leave. I really think even just speaking to other single mums who have done this or are currently doing this can make everything seem so real suddenly, like it is possible for you. So obviously there's me and there's my channel, and I'm on Instagram as well. But there are so many other people who are doing this and who are sharing their experiences. And I really recommend maybe searching on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube for other single mums or solo travelers who are doing this with their kids. And just seeing what their experience is. And when you start to see that it's possible for other people, you will start to realize it's possible for you too. When you start doing that, when you start talking to other people, when you start earning that money online, when you take that first short trip, when you do these things, you start to realize that you're not trapped. You stop feeling trapped and stuck, and you can start feeling capable of doing it. Like, this is possible for me. I can do this. And once you get that mindset shift in your head, that's when you will start taking real action and making this thing happen. And you'll actually end up booking that flight and selling all the stuff and going for it. And that's so exciting. So if you're thinking, I want something different for me and my child, start smaller than you think. Don't start with everything. Break it down. Break it right down. Don't plan the whole adventure, the whole escape. Build your confidence, build your self-belief, build your capability. And if money feels like a really big block, earn your first £100 online. That's why I created my free guide, Earn Your First £100 Online. Because once you start making real money online, in whatever way that works for you, it's your first step into building your online income stream and your first step into feeling confident enough to leaving the UK once and for all. The link's in the description if you want to grab that free guide. Don't forget to subscribe if you want grounded, practical steps to leaving the UK as a solo mum and travelling the world with your kids. And remember, you don't need guarantees that this will work, but you do need to take some action.